Today was Saturday, meaning we just passed the 12 o'clock mark, so it was yesterday. It was officially yesterday, but I'm saying it as if it's today. Today was Saturday, August 16th, 2025, Shabbat, 22 Av, 5785, Parshas Eikev, and the Daf Yomi was Avodah Zarah 59, and it is for this day, even though right now it's officially after 12 a.m. But this is the PL-89 thought calendar, which is based on planet Kochav Chama, which is the Hebrew way of saying Mercury, and it is a lunar and solar calendar, a Julian calendar, a Daf Yomi calendar, and a gematriatic thought calendar, which means that thoughts and information, data, etc., that is analyzed through gematria based on the movement of time in a calendar form that is regulated by the various dates that correspond to the sun and the moon, i.e. the Jewish calendar, the Gregorian calendar, and the Daf Yomi calendar, etc. And today, the gematriatic thought that is based on this calendar is that on this calendar, the box number for August 16th is actually, interestingly, it's number 16. And I call that, it was a name that I had, I think I just forgot it, but the, something to do with like exemplary or like fundamental boxes, something like that. And 16 is a fundamental box because, or exemplary or crucial or something like that. Because if you, this calendar is not based on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's based on 8 plus 9 plus 8 plus 9 plus 8 plus 9. And it's based on a particular verse in the book of Leviticus, chapter 25, verse 20. And 8 plus 9 plus 8 plus 9, cutting off at 40 all the time. As you get to 40, it resets. And there's a reason for that as well. And, excuse me for a moment. Unplug this thing here in the background. Okay. At any rate, 16 is a fundamental or exemplary or foundational, maybe that was it, foundational box, because box number 1 is going to be 8. Okay, box number 2 is 17. 8 plus 9 is 17. Box number 3 is going to be 25, because 17 plus 8 is 25. 8 plus 9 plus 8 plus 9. But when you get to 16, box number 16 is actually 16. And it seems to me that that's because it's based on 8, and it's because it gets the second row. 8 is because 8 plus 8 is 16. But there's other numbers that I can see fairly well, that if it's 8 plus 9 plus 8 plus 9, it cuts off at 40. I don't know why it cuts off at 40, but anyway, I can see the connection there, 8 and 16. But there's other numbers that are these, what I call foundational boxes, that I don't understand. For example, when you get to the 14th day of the month, okay, in the second so-called month, the first month, second month, second part, it's in box 14. What does the number 14 mathematically have to do with 8 plus 9, cutting off at 40. When you get to the second month, box 14 is actually 14. How does that happen? I don't understand that. I'm sure there's a mathematical explanation. Another box, another foundational number is 30. When you get to the 30th day of the month, it's actually on box 30. And every other box is not like that. Every box is like the 29th would be 21, the 28th would be 13, the 27th would be 4. Anyway, those are just some basics of the calendar. Interesting, it's just arithmetic, maybe a little bit of algebra, I'm guessing. But really, it's used for gematria, which many people don't think it's a form of mathematics. But I consider gematria a branch of mathematics, and it's not just numerology. There's order, there are patterns to it, there are rules to it, and with that, I'll just go to the numbers of the day. Today it's 16. I was starting it before, so I got off on a tangent. 16. And another rule is based on the rule of 40. That if you add 40, you can go up ad infinitum. That's how you can fit any number, any whole number, starting from 1 up until 17 trillion or whatever. It's all just in here. How? Because every number you get to, if you want to expand it and raise the level, you just add 40. So for example, if I get to 16, and it only goes up to 40, but let's say I want 56. How do I get 56? Add 40. So 16 becomes 56, and it's the same. 56 is considered 16. 216 is considered 16. 816 is considered 16. 2,016,000. Just add 40. And then you get any number, and it's all in this box. Okay, that's a very important feature of this calendar. Now, and the reason why that's important is because I came, in the reading of the day, I came across a subject. Recently I started this Kabbalistic work by Rabbi Moshe Chaim Luzzatto, Ramchal, called the 138 Openings of Wisdom. And what he was talking about was the imagery that of prophecy, images that prophets get of different, let's just say, animals, and they correspond to different mechanisms within the spiritual world. Let's say chesed might be seen in the form of a lion, of a physical lion. But in the spiritual world, it means just the attribute of kindness, let's say. Now, I read that today. Today, that was in box 16. But the Hebrew word for lion is Aryeh. Aleph, Resh, Yud, Hey. And that has a numerical value of 216. And the 216 would be in this box of today, because it's 16, because it's August 16th. So I read about a lion that equals 216 in Hebrew gematria, and I also pay attention to English gematria too. But a lion, REA, is 216. And I read about a lion today, and it was box 216, by being in box 16. So that's very interesting. These things come up all the time without being planned. That's what's so amazing. That's what keeps me thinking there might really be some actual way to, I was thinking about saying hack into the system, but not really. That's a little more negative. No, there might be a way to actually learn about an order to the way knowledge is received in some sort of formulaic, some sort of mathematical way. So that's what this is an attempt to do. That's for 16. And now in terms of, that's for August. That's the sun. That's the Gregorian calendar. But now that we're looking at the Hebrew calendar, it was the 22nd day of Av, which would be box 27. And this thing, what I'm going to say right now, is really not going to be, I think, very impressive to many people. But it's impressive to me because it's a certain kind of counting that I've been doing. And I think I'm studying the nature of counting and the informational, I was going to say synergy, but maybe energy. The informational energy or magnetism. It's sort of a concept I'm playing with. Informational magnetism. When you dwell on something in a particular way, it starts to magnetize information to it in some kind of momentum, some kind of I don't know how to describe it yet, but what I mean is that there's a certain counting that I've been doing just over and over again. It's kind of like counting the Omer. If you know what counting the Omer is, is a Jewish tradition, or it's actually a law about counting the Omer, the 7 weeks between Passover and Shavuot, that's between Passover and Pentecost, and so it's 50 days after, basically, is the festival of weeks, and so it's like you count and you count and you count, and you get so deep into the counting, it becomes like a meditation. When you get into meditation, it starts to gain some momentum, and other information starts to gravitate to it and become part of it, and it starts to snowball. It has more gravitas, has more torque or pull or something, greater gravitational pull. So anyway, all that to say that I have a counting system where it started in 2014, and I've been counting it like this. We counted the Omer, right? Started first day, second day or the 16th of Nisan, and then went and then when you hit Shavuot, I didn't want to stop there. I kept counting the Omer. So that means that the first day of Shavuot or the 50th day of the Omer became the first day of the next cycle. And then I counted another 49 days, without a blessing, of course, because it'll be like Baal Tosef, and you don't want to add too much. It's not a mitzvah. I'm not doing it for the mitzvah. I'm doing it just for the counting. That means that when I hit Shavuot, was the day 1. The next day, day 2 of the Omer. It's not the Omer. I call it the Omer though. So basically, the second day of Shavuot was the second day of the Omer. The third day after that, the third day will be the third day of the Omer. So when's the next Shavuot after that? So you're going to get to the next Shavuot is going to be 25 Tammuz. Is going to be the next Shavuot. Okay. So what I used to do back in 2014 is every Shavuot, every 49 days, I would make a special Yom Tov, my own Yom Tov. I'd go out to eat, something nice, something unique, something special. For that, I called it the Jubilee, because the 49 days of the Omer also parallels 49 years which is the Jubilee. So every Yuval, Jubilee, Yovel, I made a list of all these Yovels. For like a few years I was doing it. Every Yovel, I would go out to eat in a nice place, and I remember many of the places that I went to back in 2014, 2015. I did this up until about maybe 2017, 2018. Every Yovel, every 49 days. So the question is, how many Yovels do you have in a year? Well, you go 49 days. The answer is 7 Yovels a year. There's going to be some extra days, but basically you go around the calendar. So this Yovel system, I didn't know. So the first Yovel would be actually Shavuos itself, right? Then the next Yovel, the next 49 days, it's going to be 25 Tammuz. The next one is going to be the 10th day of El. The 15th day of El. The 15th day of El will be the next Yovel, and then it'll be 5 Cheshvan, and that would be, depending on the year, if it's Malay or Chaser, it would be Hanukkah time, 25th day of Kislev, or 24th day, depending if Cheshvan has 2 or 1 day. But then the next one will be Tu B'Shvat. The next 49 days is going to be already Nisan time, early Nisan, that first week. And then it's going to be Pesach, and then we start to count over again. So according to that whole system, the reason why we are on box 27 today is because I'm looking at my calendar, and it is literally the 27th day of the Omer in that calculation, which means that this past Shavuot was day 50, day 1. Day 50 is day 1, because it came to me in discussion with one colleague of mine that we should go according to Rabbi Yehuda. If anyone learned tractate Rosh Hashanah, there's 2 ways of counting the Jubilees. Machlokas, there's an argument as to whether you count let's say you get to the 49 years, and then Yovel. So is that Yovel year 0, and then you only start the cycle after that? That's the opinion of the rabbis, the Rabbanan, that you go up to 49, the way I understand it, as I remember it. 49 years, Yovel is year 0, reset. It's not on the count anymore. After you finish that year, now you start the next 49 years. So, but Rabbi Yehuda says different. Rabbi Yehuda says, Mona lakan ulakan. We count both sides, which means that when you get to 49, and then Yovel is both year 0 and year 1 at the same time. It's 50 and it's 1 at the same time, meaning it counts for the 50th year, and it counts for the first year in the same year. And it seemed to me intuitively that I should count that way. I don't know why. It just feels like, and I collaborated with someone who knows this, and he said he felt that way too. He felt that we should go according to Mona Lakan Ulakan. We should count both sides. And so that's how this is set up. And if you do it that way, then today is 27th day of the Omer. Without a blessing, of course. But basically, and we're in box 27. Yeah, the 22nd day of Av is always going to be 27. Or not just Av, it's August or Av, because it's a lunar solar calendar.